Hey everybody, it's Brooke with The Buttered Home and welcome to Messy Kitchen Monday. We hope y'all have enjoyed, for those of you who are local, these last couple of summer days that we've had in the month of December. It's kind of hard to get in the Christmas spirit whenever it's 80 degrees outside. Can I get an amen? But all that's about to change. Never fear, if you live in the state of Alabama, you know that we can never dress for one season at a time. So you're going to go from shorts and t-shirts yesterday to probably 4 layers of clothes tomorrow and Wednesday, and maybe even Thursday morning. They're talking about really low freeze temperatures here. So for those of you who are not from the state of Alabama and you actually have 4 seasons a year, we do kind of envy you. But we get 3 seasons in a matter of 7 days here. So nothing like our great state of Alabama. I don't mean to knock it because I really do love it here. I wouldn't live anywhere else. But we are glad you joined us tonight for Messy Kitchen Monday. We are continuing with our holiday cooking for Christmas. And as I have told you before, my family likes to do heavy hors d'oeuvres, finger foods, some casseroles, just because I have some people who live in my house who have to have certain things, and I didn't cook some of them for Thanksgiving, so I will be blackballed from the family if I don't cook them for Christmas. So Tanner will get her green bean casserole. Anyway, tonight I am cooking one of my family's very old favorites. My mother has cooked these for as long as I can remember. She's famous for lots of things, but as far as finger foods, there are 2 things that she's famous for, 3 really. One is cheese straws, and I cannot give out that recipe, but I may give you a variation of it that's just as good, but it's just not the same as hers. The other one is peppermint cheese, which is exceptional. It's very good. And the third being sausage balls. So if you've never had sausage balls, or if you have, I'm going to show you how we make them at the Buttered Home tonight. And for a bonus, I have this really easy dipping sauce that goes really good with the sausage balls. I also use this same dipping sauce for some other things that you'll see later in the month. So we're really happy that you're here. Be sure to give us a comment or a wave and let us know you're here watching. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to ask them. We'll try to address them in the time that we have. If not, I'll get right back with you as soon as we're done. But I'm going to move the camera so that you're going to see what I'm doing. And if you're just joining us, we are still doing our holiday cooking, and we're doing sausage balls tonight. And you guys know how I work. I've already made half the recipe, so I'm making the other half of the recipe. But as I call out the ingredients, I'm going to give you the full recipe. So I know some of you take notes. So what you'll see will be different than what I'm verbalizing to you. But let me get started. My husband's in there making fun of my vocabulary as we speak. Verbalizing, that is a word. Look it up. Quiet from the buttered recliner. So this recipe calls for a pound of ground sausage. As you see, I've got half a tube here, but it calls for a full pound. It calls for 4 cups of grated cheddar, and I have about half of that here, you'll see. And I find that it mixes better if both the sausage and the cheddar cheese are room temp. So if you'll leave them sitting out for a little while, it sure makes it mix a little easier and a little faster. Now, the recipe that I use calls for self-rising flour. A lot of recipes you're going to find call for Bisquick. I'm not allowed to have Bisquick in my house. So Bisquick, if you're wondering, is the same thing as what we're doing tonight. Bisquick is just flour, baking powder, salt, and it has a little bit of dehydrated shortening in it. So what we're going to be using is 2.5 cups of self-rising flour. And to make it more like Bisquick, but better, we're going to add in 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt and 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper and a tablespoon of canola oil. So I'm just gonna mix up my dry ingredients, and you wanna make sure that if you're doing it my way, that you sift that salt and pepper in really well, so that, because once you start mixing, it's not really mixing as much as it is just kind of squeezing it all together. So mixing your dry ingredients first helps make sure that your seasonings are spread throughout the dry so that they're evenly distributed over your wet ingredients. So I'm gonna add in the oil to the cheese and the sausage. And if you're just joining us, we're making sausage balls. So we have 2.5 cups of self-rising flour or Bisquick. And my variation with the self-rising flour has 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper and 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt in it. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna add that in right over the top of our pound of sausage and our 4 cups of grated cheddar cheese. And like I told you before, it's not really as much mixing as it is kind of squishing everything together. So I'm gonna roll up the old sleeves so that I can get in there good. And I usually just start kind of separating the sausage and take the flour and cheese over and just kind of incorporate it all together. Trying as I go not to make a mess. But if I do, that's okay, because it's the messy kitchen, right? Oh, so does anybody have any exciting news this week? I'm glad to see everybody here with me. Anybody tried any new recipes? Got anything on the radar they're gonna do different for Christmas? We'd love to hear about it. And you know, I'd love to encourage everybody too. You know, anytime you cook, hey, my page is the place to post your pictures, whether they're my recipes or not. I love pictures of food. I am such a girl. You can ask my husband. We go places and I take pictures of my food. When I cook, I take lots of pictures of my food. So, but we're just working the sausage in to our cheese and our flour and salt and pepper and oil. And you'll see it starting to come together really nicely. So now you just kind of want to squeeze. When you get that flour where you don't see much flour in it anymore, you're going to want to put that cheese in there and just kind of squeeze it. Now, if you don't already have carpal tunnel, this will sure help you get it. I joke, I make cheese straws and I sell cheese straws for different events and things. And I do it with a pastry bag. And man, you want to talk about carpal tunnel. That pastry bag, that's something else. So if you've ever baked cakes or decorated cakes and have handled a pastry bag very much, you'll know that it can sure get to you right through here. All right, so we're good and mixed. You see, it just looks like a coarse dough. So now you're going to take a lightly sprayed pan, or in this case, I've got parchment paper here, and you're just going to pinch out just a little bit. Now, you don't want to make them too big because they won't cook all the way through. So I just make little 1-inch balls, and just that fast, you can roll them out. And I'm going to get a few here done. This recipe actually makes about 60. So if you've got a big crowd, you might want to double your recipe. I made half last night, and a lot of them are gone. I can't imagine what happened to them. That's what happens when I go to work and people are here. I see some stray cheese in the bottom. And don't worry about if you have some loose cheese, because when you get to the end, you can take what sausage you have left and you can just kind of dab it up like that and squeeze it back through. It's all good. There's no such thing as too much cheese, not even with cheese balls. All right, so you see how easy it is to make. I've just kicked out 5 in less than a minute. And These are gonna go into a preheated 375 degree oven for anywhere from 18 to 22 minutes, just depending on your oven, or until they are a nice golden brown. My oven, my door is kind of hinky, so it actually takes more on the 22 minute side. But they cook up relatively fast. They're really good when they're hot, slightly cooled, but they are really good just at room temperature too. So I've got a good many rolled out, and I know y'all don't want to hear me ramble. We're here to cook. So I'm going to let me finish my row. I'm just slightly OCD enough. I got to finish my row. There we go. So you see you have these nice uniform, about 1 inch little balls. So we are going to pop these in the oven at 375 degrees for about 18 to 22 minutes till they're nice and golden brown. And they come out and they look like this. They are beautiful and golden brown. They're not burnt on the bottom. They're a little more browned on the bottom than they were. But whenever you take them and you open them up, they are done all the way through. A lot of different recipes call for a lot of different amounts of flour. I find the flour on the lower side, which in this case is 2.5 cups for a pound of sausage, to be perfect. There's nothing worse than biting into a sausage ball and biting into a great big old dough ball. So for me, I have found in my kitchen, the 2.5 cups of the flour actually is perfect. So now what I want to show you really quickly is this beautiful dipping sauce I have. And it reminds me of something that we might have invented in the lunchroom in about 6th grade. Because, you know, I don't know how many of you guys ate Doritos and buttered biscuits and all kind of weird combinations like I and my kids did. But this is one that's just relatively easy. It is a 1/2 cup of mayonnaise and about 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. Now, if you've never tried Dijon mustard, I encourage you to do so. It's really good with ham. It's really good with turkey. It adds a zing to a sandwich, and you can use it for all kind of dipping sauces, so I keep it on hand. So about 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard to about a 1/2 cup of mayonnaise, and you get this pale yellow, beautiful, just zippy enough sauce, but creamy in texture to dip those sausage balls in, and it's life-changing. So food is always a good idea, and this dipping sauce can be used for a lot of different things. For any savory handheld dish that you're using, you know, that they're really work really well. Like I'm gonna be showing some stuff next Monday nights, a little fancier food, and we're gonna use the same sauce here, and I may add in some horseradish for just a little more kick. So this is one of those base sauces that you can use, and you can add your own little zip to make it your own. So I'm gonna move, well, first I'm gonna wash my hands. Because they have dough all over them. And then I'm gonna move my camera. Mustard on a biscuit and french fries dipped in ranch dressing. I knew some of my SMCA folks would show up. There's no telling what all has been on Miss Sarah's biscuits at SMCA, to be honest. But anyway, that is all we have for you tonight. Simple, very easy and portable food that will make you look like a rock star in the kitchen with very little effort. And if you put this fancy dipping sauce beside it, it's one of those things that you don't have to tell anybody what's in it. You can just tell them that it is your secret sauce. So we hope you've enjoyed this recipe. Reminder, my cookbook is still on sale. That cookbook, the sale of that cookbook brings you exclusive recipes from Messy Kitchen Monday from this year that we've done all in one place. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, probably scoff at the fact that I'm selling a cookbook, but you know, the money that I make off of those cookbooks actually helps me continue to do things like this and to bring you good recipes, because if you've been to the grocery store lately, you know that food is not cheap. So the cookbook helps us with that and helps us to continue to do things for you every Monday night to make you look like a pro in the kitchen. So if y'all have any questions, just type them in the comments and I'll get back to you at the end of the show. And as always, we appreciate you joining us, and we hope you'll be here with us next Monday night for a very super special edition of Messy Kitchen Monday. My friend Ray from Add the Oomph, if you haven't followed her page, I put a link to her, a video and page on my page earlier today, will be here with us, and we'll be making some more fancy food like this. And she will help show us how to add the oomph to our holiday food with some very special tips and tricks of her own. So we thank you, and we hope that you will be here, and bring a friend next Monday night, because it's going to be a lot of fun. You never know what can happen when Rayanne and I get together. So y'all have a wonderful week, and I'll see you Wednesday for a special edition of Grocery Store Tips too. Y'all have a good night. Bye-bye.